Have you ever paused to reflect on your childhood and wondered why your path seemed so different? While others around you appeared to breeze through life, your journey may have been marked by challenges, questions, and a deep sense of being set apart. Were those experiences merely random, or could they have been a divine sign of something greater? In Jeremiah 1:5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This profound truth reveals that God's purpose for your life began long before you ever took your first breath. Those struggles and sensitivities you faced as a child were not coincidences. They were God's way of molding you, preparing you for a higher calling. As we uncover these 5 powerful signs from your childhood, we invite you to reflect and share your experiences in the comments. Type 777 if this message resonates with you. Your testimony might inspire others to see their story through the lens of God's purpose. And to all of you who've supported this channel through your generous super thanks, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your encouragement and faith in this mission mean more than words can express. Now, let's dive in and uncover how these early signs could prove that you were chosen by God. What if everything you've experienced was leading you to this very moment? Let's find out. God's chosen ones, here are 5 signs from your childhood that prove you were chosen by God. Sign 1. You faced more obstacles in early life than other people. In your early years, did it ever feel as though life set you on a path filled with challenges far greater than those faced by others? Perhaps you grew up in a family environment where peace and stability were strangers. Arguments may have echoed through your home, financial struggles were ever present, and burdens were placed on your young shoulders that no child, especially not an 8 or 9-year-old, should ever bear. These weren't mere inconveniences. They were trials that shaped you in ways you couldn't yet understand. While other children might have obsessed over the latest sneakers or the trendiest toys, you were likely preoccupied with more pressing concerns. Perhaps you wondered how to stretch meager groceries to feed your family until the next week, or worried about things far beyond your years. Maybe school was no sanctuary either. Did you struggle with learning difficulties, fight through language barriers, or constantly have to adapt to new schools as your family moved from place to place? It might have felt as though life handed you a weightier cross to carry from the very beginning. Yet, have you ever stopped to wonder why this might have been? Consider the words of Romans 5:3-4. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Could it be that God was shaping you for a higher purpose even back then? The story of Joseph from the book of Genesis offers a profound parallel. As a young boy, Joseph faced immense hardships, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and later imprisoned unjustly. But through these trials, God prepared him for a destiny far greater than he could have imagined. Do you see the reflection of your story in his? Could it be that your struggles were not mere misfortunes, but part of a divine plan to strengthen and prepare you? Ask yourself, why were you given these challenges while others seemed to walk an easier path? Could these early obstacles have been God's way of marking you as one of his chosen ones, destined for something extraordinary? If this resonates with you, let it be clear. God chose you because he knew your strength ran deeper than you realized. The hardships you faced were not random. They were intentional steps in his divine plan to prepare you for the journey ahead. The words of Romans 5:3-4 illuminate this truth. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope. These challenges were not meant to break you, but to forge resilience and depth in your spirit. Think about this. Why would God allow such burdens in your early life? Could it be because He saw the potential within you to endure, to rise above, and to inspire others? God does not waste pain. Every trial you faced was a tool in His hands, crafting you into someone with unwavering perseverance and an unshakable character. Consider the story of Moses. As a baby, Moses was placed in a basket and sent down the Nile, escaping a decree that condemned many children to death. He grew up in Pharaoh's palace, but later fled into the wilderness after a personal failure. His life was marked by hardship and challenges, but God used every moment to prepare him for the monumental task of leading His people out of Egypt. Could your life mirror this pattern? Could the trials you faced be God's way of equipping you for a greater mission? When you reflect on your early struggles, do you see how they've shaped you? Perhaps you've developed a strength others marvel at, a determination to persevere when others might falter. Could this be why, even now, you're able to keep moving forward when the road gets tough? What if those early challenges were the foundation for a resilience you'll need in fulfilling the destiny God has set before you? Think of your early life as spiritual boot camp, where God was preparing you for a greater purpose. Every challenge, every obstacle you faced was like a lesson designed to teach you how to solve problems, adapt to unexpected changes, and rely on a strength far beyond your own. Even as a child, you were unknowingly developing into someone God could entrust with significant responsibilities later in life. Does this realization bring clarity to your journey? Reflect on Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those early difficulties were not just hardships, they were God's tools, shaping you into someone resilient, resourceful, and ready for His calling. Can you now see how each struggle built qualities in you that others may never fully understand? While many might crumble under pressure, you learned to persevere, to think on your feet, and to trust in God's power. Think about David before he became king. As a shepherd boy, he faced dangers like lions and bears, tasks that seemed mundane or overwhelming. But those experiences were not meaningless. They were preparation. They built the courage and trust in God that later allowed David to face Goliath with unshakable confidence. Could your life reflect a similar pattern? Were your childhood challenges preparing you to conquer giants of your own? Take a moment to consider this. How can you honor what God has already done in your life? If this resonates with you, join the conversation by sharing a verse or affirmation in the comments. Declare your faith with words like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. By doing so, you not only recognize how far you've come, but you also proclaim the truth that your past struggles were molding you into a vessel for God's mighty work. Are you ready to step boldly into the purpose God has been preparing you for all along? Sign 2. You had prophetic or meaningful dreams in early childhood. Can you recall those dreams from your childhood? Dreams that felt so vivid, so real, it was as if they carried a message meant only for you. They weren't just ordinary nightmares or fleeting images. These were dreams that lingered in your mind, stirring your soul and making you question their significance. Perhaps in some cases, they even hinted at events that would unfold later, leaving you with an unshakable sense that they were not random. As a child, did you ever wake up feeling like God had spoken to you through those dreams? Maybe you tried to share them with a parent, sibling, or friend, only to be met with indifference, confusion, or even laughter. Over time, you might have learned to keep these experiences private, hiding the deep, mysterious connection you felt. As you grew older, the weight of these dreams might have even overwhelmed you, leading you to shut that part of your heart down simply to cope. But ask yourself, could those dreams have been God's way of revealing something special about your purpose? The Bible offers countless examples of God speaking through dreams, particularly to those he has chosen for extraordinary missions. Think of Joseph, whose prophetic dreams foretold his rise to a position of great authority. As a young boy, Joseph dreamt of sheaves of grain bowing down to his, and later of the sun, moon, and stars bowing before him. Though his family dismissed and mocked him for these dreams, they were a glimpse into the destiny God had prepared for him. Genesis 37:5-11. Could it be that your childhood dreams served a similar purpose, quietly planting seeds of divine purpose in your life? Have you ever wondered why God chose to speak to you in this way while others around you seemed untouched by such experiences? Could it be that he was setting you apart, preparing you for a unique calling? In Acts 2:17, it is written, "In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, your old men will dream dreams." Do you see how this aligns with the experiences you had as a child? Take a moment to reflect. Were those dreams really too strange, or were they glimpses of a deeper spiritual truth given to you because God knew you would one day understand their meaning? What if those dreams were a sign of your being chosen? A reminder that even as a child, God's hand was guiding you. How might those dreams be calling you back to embrace the purpose God planted within you long ago? Perhaps, as a child, you felt the need to suppress those dreams because they were overwhelming, leaving you uncertain about what they meant or why they were given to you. Yet, have you ever considered that God may still want to use this gift in your life today? Those dreams may have been more than fleeting moments. They could have been an early glimpse of the spiritual sensitivity God has placed within you. Even now, he might be calling you to pay closer attention to the subtle signals of his guidance, to discern spiritual truths that others overlook, or to sense warning signs before they become obvious. Think of the story of young Samuel in 1 Samuel 3. Samuel was just a boy when he heard God calling him in the night. At first, he didn't recognize it was the Lord speaking, but with the guidance of Eli, he responded, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:9. Samuel's willingness to listen set the stage for him to become one of the greatest prophets of Israel. Could it be that God is calling you in a similar way, using those dreams and spiritual insights to prepare you for a unique role in his plan? If these experiences are starting to resonate with you now, ask yourself, what might God be trying to awaken in you? Could he be urging you to revisit that sensitivity, to trust in the deeper truths he's revealing, even if they don't come in the ways you expect? It's possible that he's placed within you a gift for discernment, one that allows you to see beyond the surface and navigate life with spiritual clarity. Take this moment to affirm your openness to God's guidance. Write in the comments an affirmation like, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening," as a declaration of your willingness to embrace this gift and let God use it for his purposes. By doing so, you are not only acknowledging the value of your childhood experiences, but also inviting God to continue shaping your path. Could this be the step that leads you closer to the extraordinary purpose he has chosen for you? Sign 3. Animals and children with problems were attracted to you. Have you ever noticed that troubled animals or children seemed instinctively drawn to you? Perhaps you were the one who could calm a frightened stray dog that everyone else avoided, or offer comfort to a classmate struggling with inner turmoil. Maybe younger children, anxious or insecure, found peace simply by being near you, even when you didn't say a word. These weren't random occurrences. They were signs of a deeper gift, something planted within you that others could feel, even if they couldn't put it into words. You didn't have all the answers. After all, You were just a child yourself, yet those around you sensed a comforting presence, a stability that gave them hope. Have you ever wondered why they sought you out? It could be that you carried a spiritual warmth, a light that others in pain or distress could perceive. Jesus teaches in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Could it be that even as a child, your light was already shining brightly, offering solace to those who needed it most? Think of how Jesus himself embodied this quality. In Mark 10:13-16, children flocked to him, and while others dismissed them, Jesus welcomed them, saying, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." Like Jesus, you may have carried an unspoken peace that drew the hurting, the vulnerable, and even the misunderstood toward you. Could it be that God was nurturing within you the ability to bring calm to chaotic situations even before you realized it? This gift is not something to take lightly. It's a rare and precious quality. In a world filled with turmoil, the ability to bring peace simply by your presence is invaluable. Do you see how God may have been shaping you all along to fulfill this role? Reflect on the times when your calm nature eased the anxiety of others. Were those moments coincidences, or were they glimpses of God's purpose for your life? If this resonates with you, take a moment to embrace this gift and affirm it in your life. Comment something like, "Lord, make me a channel of your peace," as a way to acknowledge and accept the unique light God has placed in you. How might this nurturing, calming spirit guide you in your journey ahead? Could it be a key to unlocking the extraordinary destiny God has prepared for you? Sign 4. You were highly sensitive to truth and hurt by dishonesty. As a child, how did you feel when you encountered dishonesty? Perhaps it wasn't directed at you, but you saw it in others. A parent telling a small untruth to a neighbor, a friend's father breaking a promise, or a classmate exaggerating their stories. While others might have dismissed it as insignificant, did it deeply bother you? Did it feel like a weight in your heart, something you couldn't easily ignore? If witnessing dishonesty felt like a blow to your spirit, this sensitivity might be rooted in a divine purpose. This deep discomfort could indicate that God's standard of truth was embedded in your soul from an early age. Psalm 51:6 reminds us, "Surely you desire truth in the inner parts," revealing God's unwavering commitment to honesty and sincerity. Could it be that your heightened awareness of dishonesty was a sign of God shaping you to carry His values into a world that often compromises them? Consider the story of Nathan the prophet. Nathan was called by God to confront King David after his sin with Bathsheba, 2 Samuel 12:1-7. Despite the risk of speaking truth to power, Nathan's unwavering dedication to truth made him a vessel for God's justice and mercy. Could your early sensitivity to falsehood be a reflection of a similar calling? A readiness to stand for integrity in the face of corruption? This sensitivity isn't merely a burden, it's a gift. In a world that often views truth as negotiable, God may have created you to be someone who cannot turn a blind eye to dishonesty. Perhaps you were never meant to fit comfortably into a world where deception is acceptable. Instead, this sensitivity might indicate that God is preparing you to uphold integrity, serving as a reminder to others of His standards for truth. Think about how this trait has shaped your journey. How has it influenced your relationships, decisions, and convictions? Could your discomfort with dishonesty be a sign of God calling you to be a light of truth in dark places? This quality isn't just a part of who you are, it could be a vital piece of the purpose God has for your life. Sign 5. People trusted you. You got things done, and everything you touched got better. As a child, were you the one people naturally turned to when things needed to be done? Perhaps your family relied on you to handle small problems at home, like fixing something broken or mediating a disagreement. Maybe your friends sought your help, not just for advice, but because they trusted you to take action and follow through. Even teachers might have assigned you responsibilities beyond your years, knowing you wouldn't let them down. Does this sound familiar? What you may have seen as simply part of your personality could actually be something much deeper. When God chooses someone for a special purpose, He often begins preparing them early by instilling a sense of responsibility and reliability. Luke 16:10 teaches us, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." Those seemingly ordinary tasks, chores, resolving conflicts, or helping others, were all part of God's training ground for you. Have you considered that these early experiences were shaping you into someone God could rely on for His greater work? Think of the biblical figure Nehemiah. As a cupbearer to the king, Nehemiah started with a job requiring great trust and integrity. But when the walls of Jerusalem lay in ruins, God called him to rebuild them. Nehemiah's reliability in small tasks made him ready for the enormous responsibility of leading and organizing a massive restoration project. Nehemiah 1-6. Could it be that your ability to get things done and make everything you touch better is a reflection of God preparing you for something similar? Your childhood was not just a series of random events. Each time you resolved a problem, took on responsibility, or brought order to chaos, God was building your capacity for leadership and perseverance. These weren't just tasks. They were divine exercises, strengthening you to bring solutions in a world often overwhelmed by challenges. God is seeking individuals who don't back down at the first obstacle, who stay focused when the going gets tough, and who uplift and improve everything they engage with. Reflect on this for a moment. Have your early experiences shaped you into someone others can depend on? Do you see how God has been equipping you to bring order, lead boldly, and create lasting impact? This ability to get it done is not just about efficiency, it's a mark of your calling as one of God's chosen. How might He use this gift to further His purpose in your life? Now, let's pause for a moment and reflect on these signs as a whole. Do you see how each of them connects, forming a picture of who you were meant to become? You faced challenges in childhood that others didn't, but these trials built your resilience, preparing you to stand firm in the face of future difficulties. They weren't random, they were a foundation, strengthening you for what lies ahead. You experienced prophetic or meaningful dreams, moments of divine insight, even if you didn't fully understand them at the time. These dreams were not accidents. They were glimpses of a spiritual gift God placed within you, a gift designed to guide and prepare you for His purpose. You noticed that animals and troubled children gravitated toward you, sensing the comfort and safety your presence brought. This nurturing spirit was a reflection of God's compassion working through you, shaping you to bring peace and stability into chaotic situations. You were deeply affected by dishonesty, feeling hurt by deception in ways others didn't seem to notice. This sensitivity to truth wasn't just a personal quirk. It was a reflection of God's heart for integrity, marking you as someone who would uphold His standard of honesty and righteousness. And then there's your reliability, your ability to get things done. Even as a child, people counted on you. This wasn't mere coincidence. It was God training you to be a trustworthy vessel, someone who could handle responsibilities that others might shy away from. Taken together, these signs paint a remarkable picture. They reveal how God was working in your life from the very beginning, planting seeds of strength, wisdom, and purpose. None of these traits are random. They are interconnected threads woven into the fabric of your character, shaping you into someone uniquely prepared for a divine calling. Have you considered how these qualities have prepared you for what God might ask of you now? Could all these moments of shaping and preparation be leading you toward a greater purpose? One where your resilience, insight, compassion, integrity, and dependability come together to fulfill His plan. Take a moment to reflect on the journey that has brought you here. What might God be calling you to step into today? You were never ordinary. From the very beginning, God was crafting a story with your life, weaving its themes and shaping its purpose in ways you might not have fully understood as a child. Perhaps you found yourself asking, why did God shape me this way? Why couldn't I have had a normal childhood like everyone else? But consider this. How are soldiers, athletes, or great leaders prepared? They don't simply wake up one day ready to take on the world. They endure rigorous training, face challenges that push them to their limits, experience setbacks, and learn lessons that build their character. In the same way, God was using your childhood as a preparation ground. He wasn't merely shaping your life, He was shaping you. When you faced struggles that felt overwhelming, God was building resilience. When you experienced prophetic dreams, He was giving you a unique channel of insight. When animals and hurting children found comfort in your presence, He was developing your compassion and calming spirit. When dishonesty pierced your heart, He was instilling a deep love for truth and integrity. And when people depended on you, even as a child, He was preparing you to handle greater responsibilities in the future. This process is reflected in the story of David. Before David faced Goliath or became king, he spent years as a shepherd, defending his flock against lions and bears. Those moments in the wilderness, unnoticed by the world, were God's way of training him for the monumental tasks ahead. 1 Samuel 17:34-37. Could your childhood have been a similar season of preparation? God's chosen ones are rarely given the luxury of a normal path because He is not preparing them for an ordinary mission. Each challenge, each lesson, and each experience you faced was designed to build a foundation for the extraordinary calling He has for you. Have you considered how these seemingly disconnected moments might actually be pieces of a divine puzzle, coming together to reveal His greater plan for your life? You weren't shaped by chance. You were shaped with intention, precision, and love. What might God be preparing you for even now? Could the unique story He's been writing with your life be leading to a purpose far greater than you've imagined? Your challenging childhood, vivid dreams, and deep sensitivity to truth weren't meant to break you. They were tools in God's hands, shaping you into someone capable of standing firm in a world that often feels chaotic and lost. God has been preparing you to be a beacon of strength, love, and integrity, a person uniquely equipped to reflect His heart and bring His light into the lives of others. You might be wondering, okay, I see it now. These were signs of God's work in my life. But what do I do with this realization? That's a powerful question, and the first step is simple. Acknowledge and thank God. Recognizing His hand in your life transforms your perspective and allows you to see that you were never abandoned or left to drift aimlessly. Even in the hardest moments, God was there, lovingly guiding you and shaping your character for His purpose. Take a moment to reflect on your journey. Look back at the trials, the dreams, and the moments that shaped you. Can you see God's presence woven into those experiences? When you do, offer a prayer of gratitude. Lord, I see it now. I see your hand in my childhood. Thank you for shaping me, even when I didn't understand what you were doing. Help me to trust you with my future as I trusted you in my past. Acknowledging God's work in your life doesn't just bring clarity, it also helps you step confidently into the future. Knowing that He has been with you from the start reassures you that He will continue to guide you. What might God be calling you to do now with the gifts, resilience, and insight He has cultivated in you. How can you use these traits to make a difference, honor Him, and fulfill the purpose He has prepared for you? The next step is to seek God's guidance on how to use these qualities He has instilled in you for His glory today. Each gift and trait you carry has a purpose, and God intends for them to make an impact not just in your life, but in the lives of others. If God has made you resilient, think about where your strength can bring hope and stability to those around you. Is there someone in your community who needs encouragement during tough times? Could your perseverance inspire others to keep going when they feel like giving up? Remember what Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Your resilience isn't just for you. It's a tool to lift others. If God has gifted you with insight through dreams or a heightened spiritual awareness, ask Him how He wants you to use that gift. Could it be through intercessory prayer, bringing specific concerns before Him with a clarity others don't have? Or maybe it's through encouragement, speaking words of wisdom that bring peace and direction to those who feel lost. Consider how Joseph in Genesis used his gift of interpreting dreams to save countless lives during a famine. What might God want you to accomplish with the insight He's given you? Take time to pray and ask for direction. Lord, You've given me these qualities for a reason. Show me how to use them for Your glory. Help me to see where I can bring strength, hope, and guidance to those around me. Lead me in the ways You've prepared for me. God's chosen ones are meant to be a light in the darkness, a source of strength and love in a world that desperately needs it. How can you take the gifts God has given you and use them today to reflect His glory and fulfill His purpose? The answer starts with prayer and a willingness to follow where He leads. Are you ready to step into that calling? If your presence naturally brings comfort to others, consider how you might use that gift to serve those in need. You could volunteer with children's ministries, offering a safe and nurturing environment for young hearts to grow in faith. Or perhaps you feel called to help the homeless, extending compassion to those who need hope and encouragement. Even in your everyday life, being a listening ear for a co-worker or family member can be a powerful act of service. Jesus Himself said in Matthew 25:40, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Could your gift of comfort be a way to embody His love? If dishonesty unsettles you, let that passion for truth drive you to stand up for integrity and justice. This doesn't mean being confrontational, but rather being a beacon of truth in respectful yet firm ways. Whether it's addressing unfair practices at work or encouraging transparency in your relationships, your commitment to honesty can make a profound difference. Proverbs 12:22 reminds us, "The Lord detests lying lips, but He delights in people who are trustworthy." How can your sensitivity to truth inspire those around you to live with greater integrity? If you're the person everyone trusts to get things done, consider stepping into leadership roles that allow you to help others grow, heal, or find solutions. This could be in your church, your workplace, or your community. Like Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, God may be calling you to bring order to chaos, inspire teamwork, and lead others toward restoration. Your ability to take initiative and follow through isn't just a skill, it's a reflection of God's trust in your capabilities. Every gift you carry has a place in God's plan. Whether you comfort the weary, uphold truth, or lead others, these qualities were given to you for a purpose. Ask yourself, where can I bring God's light today? How might these traits uniquely position me to serve others and glorify Him? When you step into these roles, you align yourself with the extraordinary calling God has been preparing you for all along. God doesn't shape you just so you can keep these gifts to yourself. Every quality He has instilled in you is meant to make an impact in the world around you. There's a reason for your resilience, your compassion, your sense of truth, and your ability to lead. Ephesians 2:10 reminds us, "We are created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Your life is not a series of random events. It's a mission designed by God Himself. Think about it. Those early signs, the challenges, the gifts, and the moments that set you apart were God's way of whispering, "I have plans for you, and I'm starting now." Each experience was a step in preparing you for the good works He's already mapped out. The resilience you built wasn't just for surviving your own trials. It was for helping others overcome theirs. The insight God gave you wasn't meant to stay dormant. It was meant to guide and encourage others. The compassion you carry was placed in your heart to bring comfort and healing to a world that desperately needs it. Consider the example of Esther in the Bible. She was placed in a position of influence for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Her life was not random. God had been preparing her all along to save her people. Could your life reflect a similar purpose? Could those early signs have been God's way of positioning you for the work He's calling you to now? Your gifts and experiences were never meant to sit idle. They were given to you because there is a world out there that needs exactly what you have to offer. What if every challenge you've faced and every strength you've developed was God's way of equipping you for this very moment? How might He be calling you to step into your purpose today? Let's be honest. Hearing this might stir up difficult emotions for some of you. Maybe you feel anger, sadness, or even confusion about the challenges you endured as a child. And that's okay. Being chosen and shaped by God doesn't mean every step of the process was pleasant. You may have faced abuse, neglect, or constant disappointment, situations no one should have to endure. Acknowledging God's hand in your life doesn't mean you dismiss or sugarcoat the pain. It means trusting that God can take that pain and transform it into something purposeful and beautiful. The Bible is filled with examples of people who suffered deeply but saw God redeem their struggles. Take Joseph, for instance, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned. He endured years of hardship. Yet, Joseph's perspective in Genesis 50:20 is striking. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." God didn't cause Joseph's suffering, but He used it to position him for a greater purpose. Could your pain carry the seeds of redemption as well? It's okay to grieve the unfairness of what you went through. God doesn't ask you to pretend it didn't hurt. He invites you to bring that hurt to Him. Psalm 34:18 offers comfort, reminding us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Your pain matters to God, and He doesn't waste it. In His hands, even the most difficult experiences can become tools for healing, growth, and purpose. Think about the lessons, resilience, and compassion that have grown out of your pain. Have these struggles equipped you to empathize with others, to offer support and guidance in ways only someone who has walked a similar path can? How might God use your story, not in spite of the pain, but because of it, to bring hope and healing to others? Acknowledging the hurt doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your ability to trust God's redemptive power. How might He be calling you to step forward, carrying both your scars and your gifts, to make a difference in the lives of those around you? Could this be the moment where your story of pain begins to transform into a story of purpose? If you still carry scars from what you endured, know that healing is possible. Those scars are not signs of weakness, but reminders of your resilience and God's ability to restore. Healing doesn't erase the past, but it does free you from letting those wounds define your future. Taking steps toward healing is an act of faith. It's trusting that God can transform even the deepest pain into a source of strength and purpose. Start by bringing your hurt to God in prayer, asking Him for guidance and restoration. Psalm 147:3 assures us, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. God is not distant from your pain. He sees it, He cares, and He desires to bring you wholeness. In addition to prayer, consider reaching out to a trusted pastor, counselor, or mature friend. Sharing your burdens with someone who can offer wisdom and support can help you unpack the emotional baggage and begin to process what you've been through. Healing is a journey, not an instant fix. It doesn't mean forgetting what happened, but it does mean reclaiming your power to move forward. As you heal, you may even discover that your scars become a testimony, proof of how God has brought you through and shaped you into someone stronger and wiser. Just as 2 Corinthians 1:4 reminds us, God comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Your pain can equip you to help others walking through similar struggles, offering hope and empathy that only someone with your experiences can provide. Take a moment to reflect. What step toward healing could you take today? Whether it's a heartfelt prayer, a conversation with someone you trust, or simply choosing to let go of a piece of bitterness, each step brings you closer to the freedom God desires for you. How might God use your story, not just the pain, but the healing process itself, to bring light and encouragement to others? Could this be the beginning of turning your wounds into a testimony of His grace? What the enemy intended for harm, God can use for good. Genesis 50:20. Your past, with all its challenges and unique experiences, is not a collection of wasted moments. It's a foundation for the future God has prepared for you. If these 5 signs resonate deeply with you, take heart. They are not random. They are divine markers of God's hand on your life, evidence that He has been shaping you, guiding you, and setting you apart for something extraordinary. Don't look at your past and see only pain or struggles. Instead, recognize the resilience, insight, and gifts that were forged through those experiences. Don't view your differences or sensitivities as flaws. See them for what they truly are, signals of God's work in your life, tools He has given you to make an impact in the world. God chose you, and He set you apart for a purpose. Now, He's calling you to step boldly into that purpose. Trust Him with your gifts. Embrace the unique qualities He has given you, and allow Him to use them for good. Like Joseph, who turned betrayal into a story of redemption, your life can become a powerful testimony of how God transforms what was meant for harm into a blessing for others. You've been shaped for a reason. Trust the process, trust the purpose, and trust the One who has been with you every step of the way. Amen. As we reflect on these 5 signs from your childhood, it becomes even more evident that God has been with you from the very beginning, guiding you on the path He set out for you. These signs are not just simple events. They are divine markers that show you were chosen by God to fulfill a purpose greater than you may realize. From the dreams you had to the challenges you faced, God has been equipping you for the future, preparing you to walk in your destiny. Never forget that your life is part of a grand, eternal plan. God's hand is on you, and He's been molding you into who you are meant to be since the very start. Even in times of struggle or uncertainty, know that these moments are part of your divine calling, and God is using them to build your faith and strength. Trust in His timing and remain open to His guidance, because He is leading you exactly where you need to go. If this video has encouraged you or sparked a new understanding of God's calling on your life, we invite you to support this channel through Super Thanks. Your generosity helps us continue to create content that inspires and uplifts. And we are deeply grateful for your support, whether or not you choose to donate. Your presence here is a blessing, and we appreciate every single one of you who takes the time to watch and engage with us. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below to share your thoughts and experiences. Your feedback means so much to us and allows us to continue creating content that resonates with you. We also encourage you to share this video with your friends and loved ones. There might be someone in your life who needs to hear this message today. Together we can reach more people and spread God's love and truth to all who need it. May God's blessings overflow in your life, and may He continue to guide you on your journey. Keep trusting in His plan, keep walking in His light, and remember that you are chosen, beloved, and empowered for such a time as this. Thank you for being a part of this community. God bless you abundantly.